creating improved loops using for each. Writing efficient loops is a requirement if you want your application to perform optimally. Interestingly enough, many loops use a certain amount of boilerplate code that is essentially the same every time you write it, but with small nuances. Remember, templates and other methodologies described in this book provide a means to overcome the boredom of writing essentially the same code. However, none of the examples today has shown a tried and true method, macros. A macro is essentially a substitution technique that replaces a keyword with the boilerplate code you normally write. Macros normally appear in uppercase such as capital B, capital O, capital S, capital T, underscore, capital F, capital O, capital R, capital E, capital A, capital C, capital H, which is the macro used in this section of the chapter. Instead of typing all the code associated with a macro, you simply type the macro name and the compiler does the rest of the work for you. Technical stuff. The magic behind the boost underscore for each macro is that it creates all the iteration code you normally create by hand. In other words, you aren't providing any less code to the compiler. You simply let the macro write it for you. The boost library still relies on the standard library for underscore each algorithm. You simply avoid writing all the code you used to write when using the algorithm. You can discover more about the boost underscore for each macro at http www.boost.org/doc/libs/one underscore 55 underscore 0/doc/html for each.html. You may recognize the for each example in listing 5-4 partially from listing 6-1 in book 4 chapter 6. However, instead of choosing specific items, the example now uses a boost underscore for each loop to iterate through the vector. Listing 5-4, creating a boost underscore for each loop. Hashtag include iostream. Hashtag include vector. Hashtag include boost for each dot HPP. Using namespace standard. Using namespace boost int main. Create a vector and store values in it. Vector string names. Names.push underscore back Tom. Names.push underscore back Dick. Names.push underscore back Harry. Names.push underscore back April. Names.push underscore back May. Names.push underscore back June. Iterate through the vector boost underscore for each string name names. See out name in line. Iterate backward too. See out in line backward in line boost underscore reverse underscore for each string name names. See out name in line return 0. This example begins by creating a vector. In fact, it's the same vector as the one used for the example in book 4 chapter 6 listing 6-1. In this case, the example then creates a boost underscore for each loop that iterates through names. Each iteration places a single value from names into name. The code then prints the single name. An interesting feature of the boost library is that you can reverse the order of iteration. In this case, the code uses a boost underscore reverse underscore for each loop to go in the opposite direction from end to beginning. The technique is precisely the same as going forward. Here is what you see when you run this application. Tom, Dick, Harry, April, May, June. Backward. June, May, April, Harry, Dick, Tom. As you can see, iterating forward and backward works precisely as you expect. The boost underscore for each and boost underscore reverse underscore for each macros support a number of container types. Any standard template library STL container arrays, null terminated strings, char, and wchar underscore t. STL iterator pair essentially arrange, boost iterator underscore range, carrots. Well, they're not carrots, but you know the greater than less than pair. And boost sub underscore range that. Hello, that girl. Kylie. Tip. The macro STL container support is generalized. Any object type that supports these two requirements will work. Nested iterator and const underscore iterator types begin with a set of parentheses and in set of parentheses member functions. Accessing the operating system using file system. Working with files and directories is an important part of any application you create. Book 5 shows some standard techniques you use to work with both files and directories. However, these methods can become cumbersome and somewhat limited. Boost augments your ability to work with a file system using the file system library. Creating and deleting both files and directories becomes a single call process. You can also perform tasks such as moving and renaming both files and directories. The most important addition that Boost makes is defining a method to obtain error information from the operating system. This feature is found in the system library, which you must include as part of your application. Among other capabilities, the system library makes it possible to convert a numeric error that the operating system returns into a given readable form. Unfortunately, the system library is still a work in progress, so this chapter can't demonstrate how to use it in any great detail. Maybe that's changed with edition 4 of this book. This is C On For Dummies, 3rd edition. This is written by John Paul Mueller and Jeff Coxwell. Maybe book 4, they get into that more. You must add references to the libboost underscore file system -mgw47-mt-1 underscore 155.a and libboost underscore system -mgw47-mt-1 underscore 55.a files using the technique found in the adding the regex library section of this chapter for the example to work. The project file may require that you change the library setting to match your system. When you set up this application properly, you should see 2 libraries on the Linker Settings tab of the Project Build Options dialog box, shown in Figure 5-5. Okay, here we go. Figure 5-5. Right there. Figure 5-5 using the file system library requires the system library as well. Now we are having a side technical stuff. The file system library and the standard library. The developers of the Boost library continuously add to its capabilities. Some of the additions developers make are so useful that they end up in the standard library. The file system library is one of these useful elements. You can see the proposal for adding the file system library to the standard library at http:// wg212/sd.org//in175.html. Of course, standardized libraries require discussion from multiple groups, not just the Boost developers. Consequently, the Boost library you use today may not be precisely the same library you see added to the standard library. It's important to keep up with this proposed technical changes to the Boost library as they move to the standard library by reviewing the documentation online. I wonder how that's been going. The Boost library documentation appears at http:// www.boost.org/doc/1_55_0 equals categorized. The movement of the code from one setting to another tends to confuse developers because they suddenly find that a favorite library has seemingly disappeared. These developers also question whether they could continue using the old library or move to the new one. In all cases, you want to use the standard library when you can, because the standard library is fully supported by a standards group and, well, standard. Consequently, when the file system library finally makes the move to the standard library, be prepared to make a change in how you work with it and update your code as needed to ensure full compliance with the code everyone else creates. Remember, the OS example listing 5-5 shows only a modicum of the capabilities of the file system library. The big thing to remember when using this example is that it requires both file system and system libraries, since the system library provides error handling support. The example begins by creating a directory and a file, adding data to the file, reading the file back in and displaying it, and then deleting both the file and the directory. Listing 5-5, interacting with the file system using Boost. Hashtag include iostream, hashtag include boost file system.hpp. Using namespace standard, using namespace boost, file system, int main, check for the existence of the directory. If exists, tests, create the directory, create underscore directory, path, test, cout, created directory, test, inline, else, cout directory, test exists, inline. Oh, I guess it means if it does not exist. All right, then check for the existence of the file. If it does not exist, test date.txt, create the file. Stream file, test data.txt file. This is a test file.close. Cout created file data.txt inline else. Cout file date.txt exists inline. Read the file. If exists, test data.txt. Cout data.txt contains file size test data bytes inline. If stream file test data.txt string data while not file.eof file data cout data space cout inline file.close. Else cout file data.txt doesn't exist. In line, delete the file and directory. If exists, test data.txt, remove path, test data.txt, C out, deleted data.txt, inline. If exists, test, remove path, test, C out, deleted test, inline. The first feature you should notice about this example is that it constantly checks to verify that the file or directory exists using the exists function. Your applications should follow this pattern because you can't know the file or directory will exist when you need to work with it, even if your application created it. A user or external application can easily delete the file or directory between the time you create it and when you need to work with it again. To create a directory, you'll use create_directory, parenthetical, which accepts a path as input. You create a path object using path, the parentheses. Many of the other file system library calls require a path object as well. For example, when you want to remove, delete, either a file or directory, you must supply a path object to remove. Interestingly enough, remove does remove a file without creating a path object, but it won't remove a directory. The inconsistent behavior can make an application that incorrectly uses remove devilishly difficult to debug. That is called alliteration. I appreciate that. You won't throw elements of the standard library out when you working with the file system. For example, you still use OFStream and IOFStream to work with file content, just as you did in Book 5, Chapters 2 and 3. The file system library only augments what you already have available. Here is what you see when you run this application. Created. Here's what you see. Created directory, test, created file, data.txt. Data.txt contains 15 bytes. This is a test. Deleted data.txt, deleted test. Ooh, gee whiz, we're almost done with this chapter. What? That's amazing. One final element to look at in this example is file underscore size with a parenthetical set, pair, whatever you want to call it, which reports the size of the file in bytes. The file system library provides a number of helpful statistics you can use to make your applications robust and reliable. As previously mentioned, you want to spend time working with this library because it contains so many helpful additions to the standard capabilities that C++ provides. Woo! What? It's a shame Ardina is not here. I don't think Ardina is here because that is it. We have done it. Success. That was the last page of the last chapter of the 6th book. Notice, 6th book in one. That means we are done reading all of the main required reading for C++ All-in-One for Dummies. And all that I have to do next is appendix, and I do not need to do that today. Woo! Good times. Yo, hello, Rochester 92. Huh? Rochester 92 said, that was a nice treat. Thanks for doing this stream. I haven't gotten back into coding for a while. Awesome. Okay. Well, you're welcome. But also, I'm so psyched. I was trying to get through this book. I checked this book out. No joke. I checked this book out a year ago because I promised myself I would just take some time just to read for the sake of reading, because I haven't done that in a while, but like ever at all for anything computer science related, because everything about getting into computer science grad school and then being computer science grad school was about doing things, so I didn't really have time to just let things sit, and we are done. I know I'm going to still read the appendix, but like, done. And I can return this to the book. Oh, I can return this to the library tomorrow. And they'd be happy. It's surprising that nobody needed this book this entire time I had checked this out. I had, again, a year. A year. Rochester 2 said if you get through it, ultimate. I'm seeing, when I first started reading this, I was reading it solo. And then somewhere by like page 100 and something, 200 and something, I don't know. That's when I started doing the streams. Wow. Yes, I did enjoy the book. It was great. I just don't really sit down. You've seen me dancing time, right? I'm not a really sit down for long kind of gal. So I kept like just when I was trying to solo read it, I just kept falling asleep is the thing. Is my problem. So I kind of had to start doing the streaming to keep me awake and keep me on point as best as possible. Yes! But also Rainer Dino was interested in this book, not my Python book. So it's like, okay, cool. Amazing! It feels so good. Alright. I'm not going to do the appendix today. I'm going to save that for tomorrow so I can get through the whole thing. Because that's from page 783 all the way to 793. So it's 10 more pages. Some of it I already read already. Either way, I'm not doing that tonight. I'm just excited that we are done with all of the chapters for all of the 6 books in one. Woo! Psyched! Roger Strange said, oh yes, I know what you mean. And Roger Strange said, reading and doing is so different for attention. If you're really engaged in a program you're creating, you can sit there for, I hear you, hours and hours and hours. Time just floats on by, no problem, but reading and reading, especially since I didn't have these. Oh, I didn't have my glasses. Oh, and I got like light sensitivity issues. Oh, and I got astigmatism, which is part of my problem, I'm sure, why I was additionally having it difficult, because my eyes would just get so tired and pain. And then also the apnea would kick in. It's like, but yes! Woo! But yeah, Roger St. just said reading and doing is so different. For attention, if you're really engaged in a program you're creating, you can sit there for hours. Reading, you can wander off. True. And Roger St. just said, that must be everything. Oh no. I mean, kinda. I mean, I don't know. It wasn't easy to like get stuff accomplished when reading was involved. Let's just put it that way. So I didn't really get an opportunity to just let things marinate, and I'm so happy. This was literally a bucket list thing of me to do, was to just sit down and read some book and just read the book for the sake of reading the book and not make it into some other thing. It counts. I might have made it live streaming, but I still was just sticking to reading the book. Oh, wow. Psyched. I'm so psyched. That's so great. I'm seeing it took like effectively 10 years to get into and through grad school, and this is my first time ever where I got to actually just sit and read a computer science book and just enjoy reading a computer science book. Roger St. just said, hell yeah, inspiring. Oh, cool. Okay, yes. Glad to help if that's actually helping inspire you. Okay. On that note, I'm going to close this stream down. 5 minutes on the clock, because I have to pick up a dancing stream real soon. I had some things to go and do, so I already took care of all my self-care stuff. Then I went and did the thing I had to do, and now I'm like, well, let me go ahead and do, yes, woo, 5 minutes and 5, 4, 3, 2 1 right now. I'm so psyched. It's a bummer that Bernardino wasn't available. But he's been like, hey, you should probably just do. I learned best by doing. It's like, okay, cool. You got a point. Me too. But I just really, really, really wanted to just actually sit down and do this. And I did. What? Okay. I just went to said, okay, dancing coding is an excellent comp. I hear you. We start some coding. I know it's all theory. It's practical for the people who made this book. For me, I didn't want to. The last thing I needed to do was just stretch things out triple time because I was like, oh, let me try and actually do the. No. I'm like, I already did enough doing examples and things when I was in grad school. I'm good. Let me just read. So, dancing's come up soon. We got to do Sunday Dance Break Live. Someone did have a request. They're not exactly like the most like what do you call it? Kind with the request. But a request is a request. So I think I'll do a request. Yo, Rochester 2 said I started dance class. That is what's up. Yo, that's so cool. What are you learning and or teaching? I'm not sure which one you're doing. Technically, it's always both, isn't it? But are you a student in a dance class? And also, what dance are you learning? Is it a specific style of dance? Oh, fun. Register 92 said my friend is a Latin dance teacher and he told me to come to his studio where they have open floor and his classes. Oh, I love that. That's awesome. So you get to do a little bit of both. You get a chance to just do your own thing, but also do and learn from your friend. That's awesome. Congratulations on that. Oh, that is wonderful. Salsa. Yeah, I'm seeing. Yeah. Salsa, merengue, machada, cha-cha. Sounds good. And there's another comment, so maybe other things. I got to learn a little bit of uh, when I was taking social dance class. That was the last official dance class I was in was social dance, and that was like oh '06, and we got to learn a little bit of Latin dance, just a bit though. We also learned like waltz, and I gotta say my favorite was swing dancing. I love some swing dancing. That was a fun time. Roger 22 said yes, and people come up and ask you to dance. It's great and a fun place to go out for. Yeah, sounds like that is so cool. Oh, that reminds me of sort of reminds me of the social dance I was in. Uh, Roger 22 said swing sounds fun. I hope they cover. Oh yeah, very fun. Those spins, especially like technically improv is the most of the time people are trying to figure out the improvisational dance that goes behind swing dancing. But I'm just a solo person, so I'm just make up my own thing. It's not necessary just to. Some people would probably argue that I'm more like doing interpretive dance, but not really. I don't know. It's hard to say. I think someone called it spirit dancing. That's an idea. Just free range. Because I don't really have. Uh, I'm telling you, the last time I had real time to have the structure of a dance class was back in '06. I mean, really, though. I have not had time. No, no, I mean, I am just one person dancing. Usually, when you're dealing with swing dancing, you have a set. You have two people. I'm just one person. So, like when we practice swing dancing in the social dance class I just had one person. And hold on, I was me, but I was assigned a partner. Rogers United said, "Yeah, you seem like a very busy scheduled person." Yeah, pretty much. That's what it's like. Even though I tend to have my streaming hours how they are, I can't really write them in stone. They tend to work out that way, but there's no guarantee that they're going to continue to work out that way. They just happen to. Because I'm pretty good about being realistic with my morning hours. And even though it's not something set in stone, there's a pretty good start and stop time that things just tend to happen. And it's pretty much day by day basis. That being said, that is time. I'm going to go ahead and rearrange a few things. And I'm going to close the stream out. I'm going to go rearrange a few things. I'm going to start Sunday Dance Break Live very soon. I did want to go ahead and get that request taken care of. So I'll probably go ahead and do that as a TikTok. Back that up on here on YouTube as a short. And then I gotta try to do something for Instagram. And then shortly after that, then I can come back for some dance time here as a live stream. And I think we're gonna keep it short. We're gonna keep it we're gonna keep it short. Four dances. Because I'm hoping to get some Kingdom Hearts time in again, because I got to the final rest and then I was like, hold on, how did I get to the end of the world? How did I get to the end of the world? And I haven't gotten a single one of these synthesis items that I've been waiting to get. And so I had to research it because I'm OCD about it. And in the guide I was looking at, they were like, oh, for final mix, you actually have to go fight some of these final mix adversaries, these special ones thrown in for just specifically for final mix to get these things. I'm like, ah, dang. So now I gotta go and mess with the monkey I don't want to mess with. So we'll see. Anyway, Rochester 92 said, I'll probably come back for your dance stream. Hopefully I don't fall asleep with this chamomile tea. Yo, it is nice to get some chamomile tea time. I'll be as quick as I can. I'm thinking I'll be able to start up a dance stream in less than an hour. I just literally need to go powder my nose, move this table over there, plug my phone in. Then I gotta knock out a 60-second TikTok that I'll back up over here as a YouTube short. Then a 60-second Instagram. So that whole thing is like a 10-minute thing. So I should be able to get back on here streaming Sunday Dance Break Live in less than an hour. On that note, let me go ahead and be about it. Thank you, Retro22. Hope to see you in a bit. Thank you, Nightbot. So glad you're here. That's awesome. Sad that Rainer DM missed out on this, but okay. They'll be coding soon. That's the other thing. Now that I'm done, well, I know I gotta finish the appendix, but still, now that I'm done, pretty much done, I get back to coding time. Woo! I have not done coding time since just a day after my commencement, since last year. So, woo! Gotta get back to coding time. Okay, thank you, that girl, Kylie. So, okay. All right, for now, it's take care, but I'll see you later if you're awake. Let's just make that the plan. Oh, okay, sounds good. Thank you to anyone who I may have missed, and thank you to anyone who might check this out in the future. Stranger things have happened, and wherever, however, whatever, just make the most of it. That's the most important part. Okay, Roger's going to set. I will. The plan is in motion. All right, sounds good. Bye-bye.